I've asked you to do questions 1 through 21 odd on page 120 of your textbook. From that same block of problems, I'm going to do questions 2, 6, 10, 18, and 22, as these are like the questions in that block. Here's number 2. The instructions for this part say, use the associative property to rewrite each of the following expressions and then simplify the results. The expression in number 2 is 5 plus 6 plus x. Now in the examples I did when I was doing the lecture video, there were no variables. I simply used numbers to make the point that I could change the order or change the association if I wanted to. Now, I can't really do this part of the problem before I add the 5 because I can't add x to 6 since I don't know what x is. What I can do is change the association, 5 plus 6 plus x. I can do this addition. 5 plus 6 is 11, and then plus x. This is my answer. Question number 6 is 5 parentheses 3x. 5 times 3x. Again, this one has a variable in it, whereas the examples I did during the lecture video didn't. But I can use the associative property of multiplication here to rewrite this as 5 times 3x. 5 times 3 is 15 times x. This is my final answer. The problems in this section ask you to simplify the results. Some of the problems that you'll see in the WAMAP quizzes aren't quite like that. So let's take a minute and take a look at one of those. When you see a question like this, and the instructions for the question ask you to rewrite using the associative property, they're not asking you to do the arithmetic. It's true that this is 13, but for that particular question, if that's what you put in for your answer, you'll be marked wrong. What WAMAP wants you to do is rewrite the problem using the commutative property for addition, not do the arithmetic. Question number 10 comes from that block as well, but this one has a fraction in it. The question is 1/3 times 2a. I can't multiply 2 by a because I don't know what a is, but I can reassociate my numbers and then multiply the result by a. Well, remember in an earlier video I said I tend to think of 1/3 times 2 as 1/3 of 2. There are lots of different ways you can do arithmetic with fractions. That's not really the subject of this video, so I'll just assume that you're comfortable with the idea of multiplication of fractions. 1/3 times 2, or 1/3 of 2, is 2/3 times a. And here's my final answer. Number 18 starts out looking like this. 2/5 times 5/2a. Again, I can't do this multiplication because I don't know what a is. But I can rewrite my problem using the associative property of multiplication and then doing this arithmetic. Again, there are a couple of different ways you could approach this. 2 times 5 is 10, 5 times 2 is 10, and 10 divided by itself is 1. Or, if you're comfortable with reduction, this 2 cancels this 2, this 5 cancels this 5, leaving, in each case, 1 times 1 over 1 times 1, which is 1. Some WAMAP questions will accept 1a, but you don't really need the 1. 1a is the same as a. On an exam, I'll take either. It's not necessary to write 1a, but it's not wrong either. Most people just write A because it's fewer pen strokes and a little bit easier. Okay, the last one from this group is number 22. It starts out looking like this. 5 times 4CD. I can rewrite this problem as 5 times 4 times CD. And then I can rewrite that as 20 CD. C and D are numbers. I'm multiplying C times D and multiplying 20 times that product. But I don't know what C and D are, so I just have to leave that part of it as times CD. This is my final answer.